Mr Chair.
Nukarata.
I move that the question be now put.
One more.
Thank you, Mr Chair.
Meka Whaitiri.
Thank you, Mr Chair. Just look, I do want to acknowledge the submitters. I opened my contribution this night, Mr Chair, with the importance of this part 4. It is about disposition of Māori land. I did had a contribution around the preferred recipients here, but this is a completely different point, and it's in relation to the preferred entities. And I do want to acknowledge the many submitters, very expert submitters that came in front of the Select Committee, and two particular, Mr Chair, is the Māori Land Court judges and the New Zealand Law Society in relation to the preferred entities. And they believe that the definition was poorly drafted. That's what they said. And by way of an example, to express what they meant, Mr Chair, they talked about an incorporation in all areas, my area, Te Tairawhiti, with perhaps 10,000 shareholders, has one shareholder who is, by reason of separate whakapapa, a preferred recipient for land in the Taranaki area, then the Te Tairawhiti Incorporation is regarded as a preferred entity for the land in Taranaki. So the question there that both the Māori Land Court judges and the Māori Land Society said that by allowing this particular preferred entity in terms of, and I believe it's to do with either iwi authorities or post-settlement entities, that there's potentially a risk there to someone that may have an interest in another part of the country, that land can actually go to an iwi that's totally not related to the land. That's a submission put in by both the Māori Land Service, the Māori Land Court judges and the New Zealand Law Society. So it was just important for me to make sure that I raised that particular point because this bill actually does allow post-settlement governance to be considered preferred entities. In fact, it's interesting to note, sir, that in the officials, and I'm quoting, sir, from the official detailed submission analysis for the Māori Affairs Select Committee, where there is a reference in there around governance groups. This is the officials' comment on page 70, sir. Amongst other struggles with large governance bodies is actually finding and identifying the owners of the land that they're administering. So, I mean, I just wanted to put those points on record that both Māori Land Court and the Law Society really had some concerns around the definition of preferred entities. And I just want to note that the suggestion was factored, but it didn't result in any changes to the particular clauses of 96, which talks about the preferred entity. So, yeah, just important to acknowledge the many good submitters that came through in front of the Select Committee, sir. Thank you very much.
Mr Chair. Peter Paraona.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.